Dear colleague, welcome back. It's Dr. Jack. And in this short video, I want to share with you my number one rule when negotiating contracts. But before I tell you the rule, let me set the scene, okay? So when we're talking about a contract, that means it's an agreement between two parties, between you and an institution or group of practice. And what can we say about these two parties? Well, we can say that there's an imbalance in the level of knowledge between these two parties. One party has a lot of knowledge about the physician labor market. They obviously have intimate knowledge about their patient population and their billing and their collections and their strengths and their weaknesses and any other kind of problems they've had, their relationships with insurance companies, things like that, while the other party does not have this level of information. And guess which party you are? Yes, unfortunately, you are the party who has a lot less information. And so in order to really negotiate, you want to level the playing field. So my number one rule when negotiating contracts is to do whatever you need to do to raise your level of knowledge about the pertinent factors involved to be as close to that of the other party. Otherwise, you are disadvantaged. Okay, let me put this in practical terms. There are two categories of things that I recommend that you do. The number one thing is to evaluate other group practices. So let's say you really, really want to move to Boise, Idaho. It's like your dream town. You've been there, you love it, and you've maybe done some preliminary research. Maybe you've even done a preliminary interview on site. And let's say there's one group practice that you're very excited about joining. Even in that case, even if you have a preferred practice or institution to join, I would recommend that you research and interview with other group practices or institutions, because with each place that you interview, you're going to be gathering more information. You're going to have the opportunity to ask questions. You're going to get an opportunity to really learn the lay of the land in that city, that town, that type of institution. And of course, as I had mentioned already in the other video, it's really a seller's market, meaning us physicians who want to sell our services are in the ascendancy. There's a physician shortage, and the group practices or institutions are going to be wooing us. And so when you're interviewing with a lot of different groups or practices, sad to say, but they're going to, kind of maybe say negative things about other places because they want to make themselves look good. Now, what this means is that you're going to start getting an insider's view of all the different practices, all the different opportunities. So even if you have a preferred place you want to work with, in order to raise up your level of knowledge, of insider knowledge, please take the time. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing unethical about it to interview with other places. You're not making a promise. You are just giving yourself the opportunity to explore different job offers, different job opportunities, and you're giving them an opportunity to perhaps change your mind. So I think it's a very ethical and a very wise career move. The second category of things to do is to interview more deeply in your preferred place of work. So especially if you're a doctor just completing your training program and this is your first real job that you're getting, you may feel a little shy about maybe I don't know, am I going to be too forward in asking all of these questions? Are they going to think I'm like a prima donna or I'm kind of high maintenance? And you may kind of hold back and not ask the detailed questions that you feel you would really like to. So I would encourage you to put those misgivings aside and go ahead and ask those questions. I mentioned in the previous video, I think it's very important that you ask. If you're not offered, then please ask, request that you can interview the other physicians, including some of the physicians, if there are any, who just recently joined the practice. And then when you meet with them, you can say, tell me, what is the best thing about this practice? What do you love about it? Is it the patients? Is it working with the staff, the other physicians? And then kind of a natural transition to ask, well, what's the worst thing about working here? What are some things that make life difficult? What surprised you about working here, on the upside, on the downside? Just very, very kind of casual, straightforward way of asking the questions. So also ask to talk with the support staff, the receptionists, especially the office manager. You know, what is their rate of collections? You know, it doesn't really matter how much you bill, it's what you collect, right? And believe me, practices, some are very good at collecting and others are not very good at all. And that's what matters. So never get kind of stars in your eyes because they're telling you, like, you know, what they bill for is really high, because it's really what really comes back into the bank account, practice's bank account, and your bank account. Now, if you're still feeling rather sheepish about asking all these questions, making all these requests, let me frame it for you in a different way. And this is the way I think about it. So again, I feel as a physician looking for the job, I am the scarce commodity. I'm the person in demand. And if I'm interviewing, let's say with a group that I really want to join, I feel that by asking more and more questions, I am solidifying our relationship. I'm giving the practice the opportunity to convince me to join them. And the more questions I ask and the more I'm satisfied with the answers, the higher and the deeper my level of trust grows, and the more likely I am to actually join that group, because then I know I'm teaming up with a group of people who share my values, share my goals, and this is going to be a long-term relationship that can work. So I actually see my, pesky asking of questions as a way of solidifying that relationship and ultimately to leading to a yes. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you back for the next video. Signing off, it's Dr. Jack. Thank you.